am all set up to record right here. I got everything else, the whole body of the thing done, and I wanted to hurry up and get the intro done before it started raining, and then it started thundering, and then it started sprinkling, and now it's raining, so I'm trying to stay under the umbrella. I wanted to show you guys, someone had asked if I would show how I put together my DIYFish Midori Traveler's Notebook inserts, version 2.2. So, nothing high-tech, honest to goodness, but I wanted to show you how I do that. So, if you guys have any questions, suggestions, comments, anything like that, let me know. And it's raining. I'm going to go in the house and dry off. Okay, so you guys have a fantastic day. I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Okay, so here is how this is working for me. This is the MTN version 2.2 inserts from DIYFish. I'm going to do September. So first you open the file. I'm printing on letter size paper. It says months 2014-09. Okay, so I open that and I just hit print. Okay, and the only thing I do here is I need it to print on both sides. See, this is going to be the monthly calendar and then the extra list right here, and then this is the little piece of paper in the back that it ends up in the very back of the booklet. This is the fold line that's going to go underneath your elastic pardon me, for like future planning or whatever you're using it for. I'm sorry guys, the phone's going off. So I just take a look at this, and here's where, in my print dialogue at least, I can look at both pages. So there's my September monthly chart, and then the other side of that little flap in the back. So if you look at this, here's the short side of the paper, and here's the long side of the paper. And I want this to print on both sides, and I want it to flip on the short side, because if you think about if this were a piece of paper, and I were to turn it, if I were to grab it on this end, and flip it over this way, I would want it to look like this. See how the top is on the right hand side of the picture in both of those? Now if you think about this, if I were to grab this piece of paper on a long edge and flip it over, the tops would be reversed from one side to the other, right? One side would be upside down. I hope that makes sense. It seems like the hardest thing for me to describe. So all I do is open the file, I take a peek at it and see, okay, here's the side of the document. Which side of the paper is the document lying along? Is it lying along the short side of the paper or the long side? Well, the side of the document is on the short side. So when I hit print on both sides, I want it to flip on the short edge. I want it to flip on whatever side of the paper the side of the document is lying on. Okay, and then I hit print. Okay, now to do the rest of the file, that was my months 2014-09, September. Now I want to go down to the day on one page, the week and the day on one page, and I want again 2014-09 for September. Okay, oops, sorry guys, I had my finger in there. And then when I hit print, okay, I'm going to look right over here at the document preview again and say, okay, I want this to print on both sides. Which edge of the paper is the side of the document lying along? Is it lying along the short side or the long side? Well, again, this is lying along the short side of the document. So when I select print on both sides, I want it to flip on the short edge. And then I hit print. Okay guys, so this is how they came out of the printer. This is your monthly chart and your monthly calendar, and I have a sneeze coming, so pardon me for 1 second. Pardon me. So this prints separately, I showed you guys that. That's your month stuff, and then here is your week and day stuff. Now, please bear in mind, this is all going to vary depending on your printer, right? Mine, I honestly I showed you what I did. I, told it it'll print both sides, so I didn't have to worry about that. Okay, so I'm going to do the month one first. So I'm going to set these aside and hope they don't blow away, actually. And then you want to, if you're looking at this side, you want to flip it over. Okay, so if you look on this side, it's marked fold here and sew here. I don't know It's really great. Can you see right there where it says fold? And then it says sew. Right? There's sew. There's fold. Alright? So you are going to want this to fold inward, like this. You can fold it the other way if you want, and in fact I'm thinking maybe for September I might do that. I might put it in my notebook this way. So your elastic or where you're going to sew it, either one is going to sit here. I'm thinking about doing it that way, leaving my month calendar showing, but I'm not sure yet. So I'll fold it the regular way, and if I want to change it later, I'll change it later. So what I do, I'm not doing anything fancy here, you guys, because this is going to be my spine, the sew line, and I know that my book is going to close this way. So this line I want to fold in, but I have a hard time folding it straight and evenly on that line when I'm folding inwards. So I fold it the wrong way first so I can see that line. So I kind of flip it this way, and I line up the edges of the paper up here and down here, and I just kind of keep an eye on my sew line because I know that's going to be my spine, and just kind of real gently, if your edges of your paper are lined up, you should have a straight fold. Okay, just a teeny bit crooked. Okay, so there is, now I'm folded on the line, and I've kind of scored it with my fingers so I can flatten it out and go the other way with it. Oh my goodness, it is so humid. The paper feels damp. Alright, so there is that one. And then I'm going to do the same on the fold line. Right now I want to fold it in. That's how I want it to look in my book. But if I do that, I'm not going to be able to see this line. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to fold it the wrong way first so that I can see what I'm doing. But I'm holding the other paper to make sure it doesn't pull away. Alright. Ah, there goes one. Alright, hold tight guys, one sec. Okay, got something to hold the other paper down with. Alright, so like I was saying, I want to make sure I'm folding on that line, and I'm ultimately going to have it looking like this, but if I do that, I'm not going to be able to see that line. So I'm going to do the same thing I did with the sew line. I'm just going to kind of fold it the wrong way, kind of get a look at where that line is, and line up the edges of my paper, and try to get it as close as I can. Okay, and then now that I kind of scored it with my fingers, I can fold it in the other way. And as long as you're kind of gentle with it, you should be okay. Like I said, the paper is really, it's really humid here today. Okay, and as you can see, the edge of that paper goes right to that fold line, so it shouldn't interfere. And it is a little crooked, so you can kind of straighten it out. Okay, so there is your month done. Okay, now let me see if I can shuffle things around and not lose anything in the wind. Okay, your next page is going to be this one. And all I do from here forward, this whole stack that came out of the printer came out like this. This is my first page for the first week of September. Okay, and then they're going to fold so that here is my week calendar and my weekly chart. Okay, so the lines where I want to fold this are right here. Alright, so I'm going to go through this whole stack, and don't panic when you see it. If you've used Filofax for a while or any ringed binder and you're switching to a Midori, it threw me at first, so it might throw you off that the dates look funny, but you have to remember you're folding this whole thing up like a booklet. So you want your higher dates to be at the back, right? Because that's when you're going to get to them. So I am going to flip this back over, and if you want to double check too before you start folding everything, your pages are numbered, okay? Sorry guys, I got everything flipped around. So this is going to be the very last page, because this side is the first page of your booklet. The opposite side of that sheet of paper is going to be the very last page of your booklet, and they're all numbered already. So this is page 48. So if you just go to the next one, here's page 1, right there. There's page 2, there's page 3, See, and if you just keep flipping through them like this, you'll see the numbers are increasing like they should. So they came out of the printer in the right order. So that's a good way to check. Check your page numbers, just in case something went wonky partway through printing or something. So these, you want to fold in this center part. So again, I'm going to try to pin everything down with that. So I flip it over, and it should be folding right in half. So I honestly just kind of line up the edges of the paper, at least as best I can. And I'm pretty close, a little bit off, but not too much. And I'm going to do that for every single sheet in here. Okay, so, and if you fold them the wrong way, you can flip them, fold them the other way. So I know that next I want my weekly chart. So I'm going to line them up as best I can on the edges. And give it a fold. And then I just start setting them together in a booklet. I knew this was my first page. And then check real quick. There's my weekly planner. There's my weekly calendar. There's my weekly chart. There's the first. Obviously the next page that would go in here would be the second. Okay, and I do this whole stack like that. I just fold them in half by lining up the edges. Okay, so now that I have them all folded, not very neatly, mind you, they're not overly tight, they're not gonna be perfect, but kind of hold them together in a booklet, and I just double check my page numbers real quick. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I just kind of give them a flip through. If you get to the middle of the book and your page numbers are all fine in the front half, they're gonna be all fine in the back half. But if you have a mistake in the front half, obviously you're going to have a mistake in the back half because it's booklet form, booklet style. Okay, we're good. So now I stack them together as best I can, and I'm going to get a binder clip or two and hold it together right here. And I give this a really, really good push. Now before you trim this, I want to point something out because it can be confusing. So just bear in mind, your trim marks for the entire booklet are right here, okay? So you're going to hold a straight edge on there and you're going to trim this off. Because the pages in the center of the booklet, are further that way than the pages on the outside because they're in the center. They're being pushed out by all the pages behind them in the spine. When you get to the center, you're going to be trimming off more of the edge of these pages on the inside than you are on the outside, just because of the nature of the paper and the fact that you're doing it booklet style and you've folded it. So it's not like trimming for a file effects where all the pages are the same size. You want to fold it into booklet form too, and just use the guides that are on the top page. And as you're going, don't panic if you see pieces of paper coming off when you get toward the center. Don't panic if you see trimmings of paper coming off that have those hash marks on them. You're most likely not cutting it crooked. It's just that those are toward the center, so your cut line is going to fall more like here. Okay, so let me grab my stuff and I will show you how I trim these. Okay, you guys are seriously going to laugh at this. This is honest to goodness how I trim these. Okay, really old cutting board that you can see I've trimmed on many, many times. Aluminum ruler and an old box cutter. I told you I don't do anything high tech. I want to get a rotary trimmer though. Ray had done a video showing using a rotary trimmer and it was fantastic, so I need to do that. This is going to be my cover. This is just a plain old piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. So I'm going to fold this in half because this is going to go around the outside. Okay, so give that a good push. And I just realized that I did not bring the binder clips with me. Hold tight. Okay, so once this is folded in half, I'm going to tuck it aside for a second. Okay? We are going to trim the actual pages. So you can see how these go together. Here's that month page, right? There's my calendar, my chart, and that sew line is going to be my spine. And then the rest of the month that we folded in half, I want to lay that on top of that spine, and this is the part that folds in. Okay, so you can see on the edge here, you can see that hash mark there and that hash mark there where you trim them. So I'm not going to be trimming off anything from the back. Okay, so that I wanted you guys to see where this is going to go in here, but this month page, you're not, when you're trimming the edge here at least, you're not trimming anything off of this. So I'm going to set it aside while I trim these, but I wanted you to see that I'm not missing it. Okay, and this does, because it's letter size paper, it comes out a little taller than your Midori or your faux dory, so so you can trim a little bit off the top and the bottom, and in that case you do that after you put this together with the monthly part. Okay, so these are all together. I smushed them together really well. I pushed everything in the middle into the spine as far as I could get it to go, and then I just binder clip this edge. Okay, and you can use bigger ones if you want. Those were just the ones that I had handy. And take your ruler and line this up right on those two cut lines, like so. And then you want to be really careful. You want to really take your time, okay? Because I'll tell you what, this is how I butchered so many inserts when I started cutting these. I was like pushing with the knife as hard as I could, and that's the total opposite of what you want to do if you want to have even a hope of decent cut lines. So I push on this ruler, okay, and I try to keep, I'm pushing here and here, so I've got a pretty good balance of pressure against the paper. And then just really slowly, really gently, just go over and over and over. So this is where a rotary trimmer would be nice. And I just keep going, and as you can see, I started right on the hash marks, and as we get deeper here, you'll see that you'll see the hash mark and a little bit of space to the left of it, because we're getting toward the center of the booklet. See, like on that one, you can see a space. It's not that I'm cutting it crooked, it's just that those pages are in the center of the booklet, so the spine pushes them outward that way. And I'm pushing a lot on the ruler. I'm barely pushing on the knife at all. I'm just letting the blade do the work. I cannot tell you. Oh, if you guys watch some of my earlier videos, some of my inserts were just butchered. And this is probably not going to be perfect, because I think it's about time for a new blade in this. So I just keep going really slowly, and I can start to feel that I'm kind of getting down to the cutting board. That's why there are so many nicks in the cutting board. Okay, so that is that portion of the insert cut. Okay? So let me move. Let's see if the wind will take all that away, so I have to chase it down, huh? Okay, so this goes in here like so. And this is all going to go in here like so. Okay? And then I'm going to clip this shut again, and I didn't do this for August, and it's bugged me all month. My August insert, because this is 8.5 by 11 paper, it's taller than all of my other inserts in my notebook, and it's kind of driven me crazy all month. So we need to cut this cover down so that it fits this, and we need to trim the top and the bottom off of here, so that it's not taller than your other inserts. It's not taller by a whole lot. So if that doesn't bother you, don't worry about it. You can leave it. It only sticks out, 3-4 millimeters maybe on the top and the bottom, if even that. But I want to even it up a little bit. So let me show you how I trim the cover to fit the pages, and how we trim the whole top and bottom to fit everything else that's in the notebook. Okay, so I'm going to get this out of the way for a second. We are going to use it again, but okay, just wanted to show you. So here is my September insert with my stuff inside. Okay, here is a regular Midori insert. I lay these together, you can see the little bit of space at the top and a little bit of space at the bottom. See, it's not even 4 millimeters. It's more like 2 on each side, maybe 3.
that because it's 8.5 by 11 paper, it's a little bit taller than this. So what I do, I leave that binder clip together, I lay an insert right on top of it, just kind of stack them so they're all together, okay? And you want to make sure you're even, and it can be tough because those binder clips are going to push a little bit. So I'm going to hold this down, I'm going to take my pencil, maybe, and I'm going to mark the edges of this existing insert. And then for my sides, I used to, like last month, I did it like this. I did just like I did, put that on there, traced the top and the bottom, I traced the side, but I didn't quite have it lined up well at the spine, so where I traced it right here, it would have left my cover a little bit shorter than my pages, so I would have had like this gap. It would have looked like kind of like this. I would have had, my cover wouldn't have been wide enough, and I would have had this little line of paper showing. So, as crazy as it might sound, what I do with the inserts in there, I just kind of push down really carefully on the cardstock so I get a little bit of a crease line here. Okay, and I do that on the front and the back. I don't know if you can really see that with the lighting the way it is, but you see how it made a crease in there? Okay, and then I take this off, take the inserts back out, because I don't really, knowing me, I will somehow butcher these while I try to trim this around them with the utility knife and the cutting board. So I want to trim this by itself. So, first, I am going to, because it's already folded in half, I'm going to line this up. I'm going to line my crease up with my line on my cutter and get a good look at it and make sure it's going to be straight. And I'm going to cut that off. Okay? Recycle that. Now you can do one of two things. You can go ahead and trim this off right here and then put it on the inserts and use that as a guide to trim off the top and the bottom of the inserts a little bit so they're not taller than your other inserts. Or you can put this back around the inserts, put the whole shebang in there, and you can binder clip it back together and use the utility knife holding down and trim off everything together that way. That's what I'm going to do, just because I will end up with a crooked. See, even though I was careful, I can see a tiny bit of paper sticking out. Won't bug me, but it is what it is. It's there. So this, we are going to come back to our lovely cutting board and our high-tech setup. Oops, you know what I'm going to do one more time, actually? Just going to smush these in here really well one more time. Okay, got everything packed into the spine as much as I can. You can take, if you want, a ruler. My ruler isn't flat. You can see that it's curved, but you can take a flat ruler and put in the center here, especially if it's a really narrow ruler. I've got a little metal one that one of the boys is borrowing right now, but it's really good for that. You can put it in the center, push it down in that spine as much as you can, and then with the ruler you kind of bang down on it like that, and that'll pack everything into the spine really well. So we are going to put our binder clips back on. It's a little bit crooked. And then right where I had traced around that existing insert is where I'm going to trim off just a teensy bit off the top and the bottom. Okay, and it is a little awkward because you're cutting at the spine. For me, this is gonna, you know, your mileage may vary with this. Do you want to start cutting at the spine and cut down this way, or do you want to start at the edge and cut this way? Just speaking from experience, for me, the way I'm doing it, it works better for me to start at the spine and cut down. I tend to really hack up the spine if I do it the other way. Okay, so I moved my binder clips a little toward the center because they were interfering with the ruler. So here are my lines from my other notebook. I'm just going to line that up. And again, I'm going to push down. as evenly as possible, and then really gently through all the paper. And this will probably take longer because you do have quite a bit of resistance at the spine because you've got all that paper folded right there. Okay? Okay, so that side is done, and I just wanted to show you, when you flip it around to do the other side, kind of don't really have a choice but to go from the opening edge to the spine, because if you try to do it, for me at least, if you try to do it this way, you have to switch hands. I'd have to hold the ruler with right hand and cut with my left, and that is not going to happen. I'll lose an appendage that way. I cannot cut with my left hand. So this, you want to really give it even pressure. And same thing, take your time with it. Kind of push the paper out of the way. See how it'll start to fan up? That's part of why going from the spine outward is easier, but can't really be helped because I can't trim with my other hand. And just repeatedly, even pressure, very little pressure actually. And as they start to stick up, I kind of push them over because they do get in the way. Okay, and that is that. I figured you guys didn't want to watch me cut the whole edge off. That would get boring. And they're tree trimming up the street, so I'm going to give you a little break from that. And that is it. It's by no means perfect, you guys. Don't get me wrong. I can see right now it's a teensy bit crooked at the bottom. But you know what? I'm really not going to notice that. And then, when I slide it into my notebook, if you open it at the center, just like any other insert, open it at the center, I just slide it under the elastic, and done. I let the elastic hold it together, only because I cannot sew to save my life. So, I just let the elastic hold it together. And that is it. That is how I put together my DIYFish MTN version 2.2 inserts. Easy peasy. And you know what? Perfect timing because it is starting to sprinkle on me. If you guys have any questions or suggestions or comments or anything at all, you all know what to do, okay? Thank you so much. Bye-bye.